The engine is still
Go for launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Riff Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you could need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Welcome to the Forgotten Library. Where the books whisper, the shadows listen, and the stories refuse to stay quietly on the shelf. I'm your host, Christina Spencer. And each month, we explore one novel together. With 3 one-hour live episodes of immersive, read-aloud chapters. Followed by a live interview with the author who brought the story to life. So find your favorite comfy chair, a soft blanket, and a hot beverage. Light a candle if the darkness scares you. And settle in for story time. Welcome to this week's live episode of Horror, History, and Hauntings Library. Well, we still got music. We're jamming. Let's turn that on. You can tell we don't do a professional podcast here. We are just a hot mess, but we try to be professional as much as we can. Anyway, thank you again for tuning into Horror, History, and Hauntings Library. I want to give a big shout out to everyone that popped in. I know it was a little short notice. I've been a little scatterbrained with everything going on in my real life world right now, so I do appreciate it. So let's get started. I noticed today that the woods are quiet tonight, maybe a little too quiet. Somewhere behind the tree line, something is watching. Glowing eyes in the dark, a forgotten building hidden deep in the woods, and stories so twisted they crawl under your skin and stay there. Tonight, my fellow creepy little weirdos. We're stepping into the terrifying worlds created by author Dustin Grammer, the mind behind The Structure, which is this book, and the absolutely unhinged horror experience known as MOO. Hopefully, my camera likes it. MOO. MOO, MOO, MOO. What begins as isolation quickly spirals into paranoia, dread, and the horrifying realization that humanity may not be the top of the food chain anymore. We'll be talking about monsters, madness, the inspiration behind his stories, and the darker corners of horror writing, and what nightmares may still be waiting inside the structure. So dim the lights, lock the doors, and whatever you do, don't look into the woods. You might see glowing eyes staring back at you. So, hello, my fellow creepy little weirdos. My name is Christina, and I'll be your tour guide through the unexplained, the paranormal, and the just plain weird. Welcome to Horror History and Haunting. Tonight's special guest is author Dustin Grammer. So, let's descend into the darkness together, shall we? So, let's bring Dustin on stage. Hey,
Hey,
buddy.
hey, good evening.
Good
Nice,
evening.
nice introduction. That book, that book sounds pretty good.
I'm glad you appreciate it. We didn't think this was ever going to happen. It was just one thing. I got sick, and then I figured out like I got hangover from a paranormal investigation. It was your birthday, and I was like, "Nah, we can wait another week." That's what's great about doing your own show. You can make up your own schedule to an extent. So, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. For people discovering your work for the very first time, can you give a brief bio of who Dustin is beyond the author bio that we read online?
Oh my goodness. My name is Dustin Grammer. I live in Alabama, and I just started. I've been writing stuff since I was about 10 years old, and most of it was like wizards and swords and like sword and sorcery type stuff, I guess. And then, but
Mhm.
I've always had like a little interest in being scared and horror and Bigfoot and stuff like that. And just a couple years ago, I actually started writing and finished a project, and it was so much fun. I've just kept doing it.
Kept doing it. Yeah, you got hooked, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It almost sounded like you were doing like Horror Anonymous. I'm Dustin. I'm from Alabama,
and I like horror.
and I'm a horror addict. So, what first pulled you toward horror specifically?
It's a the more I get asked that question and the more I drive around and think about it, there's so many different little influences growing up. Like there's a lot of good storytellers around here, but I had a cousin that would babysit us sometimes, and she would say crap like about a werewolf in the hallway, or I think when I was little, I had an aunt that babysat us one night, and her husband watched Friday the 13th, and I'm pretty sure it was the New York Part 8, and Pepsi did that Universal Monsters thing with
Yeah, I
Doritos
remember
and
this.
Pepsi. All that fun stuff happened around that time, and then it came out, and a lot of the kids at school would talk about they saw the killer clown, and it just scared the crap out of me. And I
Yeah, I
just had a
remember with the killer clown like epidemic that happened like a while
yeah,
like I think it was right before the pandemic. People were
uh-huh,
seeing clowns everywhere, and there was
yeah,
like a couple people that legitimately were clowns like trying to do good work that were getting like harassed by the cops cuz they're on their way to like do a children's party or something, and the cops are like, "What are you doing?" "I'm being a clown. You better not be in the woods, boy. They're not
no
with you."
no clowns around these parts.
Right? Now, was there a particular movie that you remember or a book that says, "I want to really terrify people for a living"?
Um, no, it was more like oral storytelling. I would just, ride on the bus, and me and a friend would tell stories, and then, me and my brother would walk up and down our road, and I'd just come up with these stories. And you know, the elementary school was full. For some reason, you know, thinking back on it, it was full of all these like little horror books.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
had like Bigfoot, and uh, there was a book I remember. It was like alphabetical, and it went through all these different types of monsters. And some of the sketches were like freaking scary, you know. And then there was yeah, there were some pretty scary books back then. And you had the little Goosebumps time, which you know those weren't really that scary, but they were fun to read.
Yeah, they did the Goosebumps, and then there was R.L. Stein. I remember was really big for a while. And but see, I was weird because like I was in middle school reading Stephen King.
Hmm.
I was a weird kid. Like I had an advanced reading level, and they didn't know what to do with me because I ran out of books for the local library, and they would have to they would get their books in, and then they would set them on the table for me to come pick those up because they know I haven't read them because they haven't been in the library.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I got into Stephen King way too young. That's what
Yeah,
kind of drove
that's
me into it.
pretty intense for a young age.
Yeah, and I remember I was like 13. I got fixated with The Exorcist. I read that book 3 times, and I was so mad every time I finished it because I'm like, I still don't know, was she possessed or was it psychological? Because he does such a good way of writing that it just rides that line, so you never really find out whether it is a spiritual thing or whether it's a psychological thing.
Yeah, I've never read that book, but I see it pop up in a lot of groups that it's a really good book, but
It is.
never read that one.
Now, and we talked briefly behind the scenes a little bit in our previous interview about like your inspirations, but for people that don't know the structure, what was the original spark behind that idea?
Okay, there's kind of two to that. So where I live, I've always kind of lived out in the woods, and like being a little kid, I was just always imagining all these things, and uh, there's like a bunch of those natural gas wells around here that make a bunch of noise, and there'd be like a buzzer that would go off, and in your head at dusk, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
the woods are starting to get dark, you start thinking like, what if that was like the sound of like a warning to get back, and they're like letting these like
Big monsters
things,
in.
yeah, these things out into the woods for the night, you know. But the very biggest influence for that book was, and I'm not going to say where it happened, but I went to uh, a train. Let's just say it was a military training camp because I was in the Navy for a little bit. And while we were there, we had to wait to get into class because it was back in like '08, and there was some bonuses and a bunch of people all signed up at the same time. So they
Mm-hmm.
put us in like an overflow area. So you didn't get to go to class for like several weeks, but in the meantime, they put you to work. Like you had to clean, yeah, you had to sweep, clean the building, rake, do all this crap that wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one way to escape. And this sounds crazy now, like looking back on this, especially when I say it out loud to people. There was a civilian contractor that drove a white van, and he would drive up to the building every once in a while and take volunteers. And there was this other younger guy in the group that's like, when let's call him like Smith, you know, when Mr. Smith comes to the building, you need to go with us on one of these work details. It's a lot of fun. He's a cool dude. So like the van pulls up one day, and the guy's like, "Hey, I need 2 volunteers." And this guy goes and he points at me, and he's like, "Come on!" And the dude opens the back of the van. We sit in the back of the van. He drives us around the base to this building, and it's a building like when we're out jogging at night and stuff. Like I see this building all the time. There's no lights on in it, no cars. Like
It's spooky.
one old car's in the parking lot, but it just looks like it's abandoned from like the '40s or something. And he takes us through this roll up door, and he's pulling a cart like a little wagon, and he's like, "When we get in here, when I tell you guys to stay back, you stay back, and I'll get you to help me load the van." Well, he takes us in this like he rolls up the door, and it's like a warehouse full of junk. There's like crates, stuff netted up, covered up with sheets, and we go to like one of those accordion style elevator doors and get in it because it's like an old school building. Yeah, and he shuts it, he takes us up a couple levels and says, "Stay with the elevator." Well, when he's gone, he rolls off with his little wagon. All the doors on this hallway are shut, but it's like fully operational. All the lights are on. You can hear all these sounds, and every time the door opens, it's like a high ranking officer comes out of it. And then when the civilian guy with the wagon comes back, he's got like a bunch of hard drives and stuff, and he gets us to load them in the van and takes us back and drops us off and leaves with all this stuff. And the whole time I'm there, I'm like keeping my eye on this building, like, dude, there's a bunch of crap going on in here.
Yeah,
It's like
like
from the
this is a
outside.
busy building for like a derelict, abandoned building. There's some stuff going down in this, you know,
Yeah. And it was pretty
basement.
cool looking back, but it's scary at the same time. So
Hmm.
that was a big motivator for that book.
Well, and it hits home because all of us, especially in this realm of like podcasting, we're all a little bit of a conspiracy theorist to be into this kind of stuff. So it's like, what if all the stories that you tell yourself that is real slaps you right in the face and happens in your backyard literally, and nobody believes them at first because they're like, yeah, like he's a nut job, we know, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody just kind of picks on him.
Mhm. But he gets he sees something he shouldn't, he gets involved with people, it's a crazy ride. It
Yeah.
really is. Now,
He should have left it alone.
yeah, he should have just left it alone, but we a lot of times we don't. Like, he's a very realistic character because especially if you're heavily into that, and so many people have told you, through the years that you're stupid and that you're wrong and that, you're just a paranoid freak, you want to prove it. You want to go out there and be like, yeah, see, I told you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can't blame the guy. But here's a question: what kind of horror affects you personally? Psychological, cosmic, creature horror, isolation horror, body horror?
Um, Probably like The Exorcist. That's probably why I've never read that book.
Yeah, it's very psychological,
Yeah, possessions,
spiritual. Yeah.
yeah, demon activity, that kind of stuff. I don't mess with that too much. It's a little too dark. And it sounds funny from a horror author, but
Yeah.
that's a little dark for me to. I don't want anything to do with that too much. And
It's
yeah,
understandable. Now, the atmosphere and the structure, like you almost feel incredibly claustrophobic and it's unsettling. How is important is environment and setting in your storytelling?
that one I really tried hard to flesh out the environment and the setting, and uh, I was I've been told that that was a very like you feel like you're there kind of book,
Mhm.
atmospheric. So maybe I achieved the goal, but yeah, I did set out to try to immerse the reader into the atmosphere a little bit with that one, if I could. I tried my best, and
You
that
did
was
a
the
good
target.
job. Really,
Thank
really
you.
good job on that. Now, do you always know where your story is going like ahead of time? Are you a planner or did the mystery evolve kind of while you were writing it?
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of both. Um, Sometimes, a lot of times, like I'll start a story, like I'll have a general idea, and it kind of will. It's weird, and I hear tons of authors say it. I listen to a lot of these interviews, and like it's kind almost like the story will start telling itself
It'll take a different
because
direction.
yeah, because initially the structure was just supposed to be a short story in the other side of the graveyard, and I
Mhm.
got to a certain point where I could have made it in really quick or
Kept going.
put us inside the structure and really went with that, and I just took that route. It was the first time I'd ever made like a novella sized thing because I'd always just wrote short stories, and
Cool. Very
I didn't want to cut the story off too soon.
Now, there any scenes as you were writing them that kind of creeped you out as, a person?
Uh, and that one, let me think. Yeah, there was like the part where he falls into the dark water. and he can't see. I actually based that off of a true story.
Ooh.
Um, my dad was telling me that there was some guy he knew that died because his wife's car had broke down on a bridge. Well, it was like a two-lane bridge thing where there's a gap in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and she was going one way and he was coming the other way, and he was coming to help her, and it was nighttime, and he stepped off the bridge thinking there was grass, and it
It
was a
went
drop
over.
off. Yeah,
Oh
he
my.
fell and died like a long way, you know.
Wow.
And I just imagine when my dad was telling me that, how scary it would be to be running or, moving in the dark and think you have solid ground and everything
It's
just
just gone.
is just gone. You just fall, free fall. And you can't see.
Mm-hmm. That's terrifying. That's like prim like primitive man
Yeah.
internal fear,
And
Because
that was
I've
kind of
always
a,
said it's not that you're afraid of the dark. You're afraid you're not alone in the dark,
yeah, or in the water.
right? Which is even worse because that's like a double fear because not only are you in the dark, but you're in the water. And that's a big fear for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
So you're like hitting them both sides with that one. Now, with
Yeah.
that, if the structure ever became a film, would that be the scene you would be most excited to see on screen, or is there something else you would like to see?
Oh man, I would think that inside the structure when he reveals the source, you
Shh, don't
know,
give it away.
okay, well I didn't know. Yeah, but that would be the scene that would be really exciting.
So, yeah, if you want to know what that scene is, you're going to have to read the book.
Yeah, that would be cool to see.
That would be
With
awesome to see. Now, we talked a little bit about the structure, and I do want to give Moo its time in the spotlight. Um, I know because you've told me this story before, but for people that haven't heard it, what is the idea of terrifying cows? Where did that come from?
my daughter,
Mm.
she's always been scared of cows, and we live near a bunch of cows, and she doesn't want to. She's better. I mean, she'll go out there if you kind of like shoo them away or whatever, but she's always, and I'm always like, and they are big, and they are a little scary when they kind of run up on you a little bit.
Hmm.
But I would always say, why are you so scared of these cows? She would say, well, because I'm so small, they're going to try to eat me. And I would always say, cows don't eat meat. Cows eat grass, and then it's like the light bulb went off, like,
It's like, hmm.
well, what if they did? And then I was like Googling, like, can cows eat meat? What do their teeth look like? All this, stuff.
I was talking about your book on the patio the other day outside, and a thought came to mind because the whole killer cows, like something that typically doesn't eat meat. And I
Hmm.
was reading this article about squirrels, like
Yeah,
in the city, are starting to like turn to like attacking smaller rodents and like to survive. They're starting to like be more omnivorous. Is that the word I'm looking for?
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, how terrifying would that be to have squirrels that suddenly decide to eat people? That would be terrifying.
Oh,
They're
yeah, yeah.
fast and mean and they
They're
get short.
fast. Yeah.
They start hunting in squirrel packs. But anyway, my squirrel brain. Back up to the subject. Now, did you expect the readers to react as strongly as they have to the concept of killer cows?
Uh, no, I didn't.
There's the humbleness coming in. That's the
What
southern humble.
what
No, I
one thing
didn't.
one
It's
thing I
okay.
do like about it, and this is a personal thing, is when you try to look at a story for a protagonist. And this one, I don't know, I didn't write it thinking about this, but I think I thought about it after the fact. Like, who's really the protagonist? Because
Exactly.
the
Who's the
cows are
villain?
not, they're not evil. They're not they're not zombies. They were neglected and they wanted to live. And the
Hmm.
people in the town also want to live. But
Right.
I kind of like that, that aspect of the book.
And it really touches on like the human primitive nature because at one point we had to have done that too, where we turned to like eating meat and our brains
Mhm.
got bigger and stronger. And like, what if cows did that? They discovered if they eat meat that they would become smarter and understand things more. So I think, and I love the fact, like, it sounds weird, but the cows are very humanized. Like the scene with Hamburger, and I was like, "Oh, not Hamburger!" But that one kind of broke me a little bit. But yeah, and I love the names of the cows, which I know that your daughter kind of helped pick all the names, and that Hamburger was my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. Hamburger had to. It was there were parts of it too that were funny, but it was like not intentional. It's not like a comedy book, but
Right.
like I was editing, I think it was the third chapter where Remus comes through the wall and snatches the woman up, and I started laughing, and my wife's like, "Are you laughing at? Why are you laughing at your computer screen? Are you laughing at your own book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just the way I wrote this. I didn't remember it kind of
Being
sounding
so
that it as funny as it is."
yeah, it turns very chaotic very quickly for that woman. And it's so
Yeah,
because everybody's known somebody in their life, especially if you live in rural communities like that woman. It's
yeah,
just like living in her trailer park life, with a little side boyfriend.
yeah.
But now, what has been? Because I was curious about this. Like, what's been the wildest reader reaction that you've received about Moo?
I think the coolest was I got invited to an event, and it was a place I've never been. It was out of town, about an hour and a half, and it got advertised. These authors are going to be here, and it was like a picture of our books and stuff. And while I was at my little vendor table, this lady comes up and says, "I would like to buy a copy of Moo, a physical copy, and have it signed." And I was like, "Sure," and I signed Moo, Beware of the Herd, and I'm signing it, and she says, "By the way, I saw it on the ad, and I read it on Kindle, and I liked it so much, I wanted to come here and get a physical copy." Like,
That's awesome.
nothing like that's ever happened,
That's cool. That's
and I was like,
cool.
"Man, okay, that's awesome." And
Now,
a lot of people walk by and they laugh, and they'll flip it over and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, is this about killer cows?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
which is to me such an interesting, like, different type of idea. That's why I liked it as much as I did. Look at me, that was magic. I disappeared. Poof.
Yeah,
Um,
my daughter keeps walking around saying you're welcome, and she said she's like, I should have my own page. I should be featured in
right,
the front
right.
in the front of this book. And I said, have you looked at the very back where the author's
Dedication.
note is? Yeah, it's like you've got like a whole section that your brother is not even a part of. And she's 9, and she snatched up one of the books and flipped to the back, and she goes, huh? And she reads it, she puts it down, smiles, and she's like, well, okay.
She's 9 going on, 20.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
wanting
yeah.
her residuals.
Yeah.
Now, what would you feel is the hardest part of writing horror effectively?
Hmm. Writing horror effectively. Okay, I follow, I'll read comment sections and stuff, and people are saying, "Man, this book scared the crap out of me," or "This is a scary book," and I just, in my mind, I wonder what does it take really to write something that actually scares people on a page. And I think that's a challenge. I've never really. Sometimes I'm more interested in the storytelling aspect more, and I just want to like freak somebody out. But there are sometimes like my short stories, and I'm like, I wonder if this is a scary story. Like
How
what
scary
elements
is
or
this?
yeah, how descriptive does the language have to be, or how do you do that? How do you scare people? So that's a pretty challenging part for horror,
Yeah,
or a
most
shock
definitely.
value. Like I like when people say, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's always a big compliment. Now, is there a process you go through to like balance your gore, suspense, and emotional investment in your stories?
Yeah, it kind of changes from book to book because I started out And I guess I'm still in the same vein. I don't do extreme brutality. I don't do extreme horror. I try to stay because I have kids and my family reads some of this stuff, So I don't. I got certain places I don't go with it. And I try to say like maybe it's PG-13, and I want the story to tell itself and be a fun, like a good read.
A fun
So
little ride is how I always
yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. Without, I don't want to use excessive gore. Or I don't want to be nasty, like gross, just for shock value.
Right, right.
And some people really like splatter, gore and stuff like that.
Yeah, the gore horror.
Yeah, yeah, and there's some really intense stuff.
Now, have you ever written something so dark you had to step away from it for like a little bit?
Um, yeah, not well. Trying to think, I've thought of some things, you know, and
Haven't
like
we
maybe,
all though?
yeah, I've wrote some notes down and thought, man,
Mhm.
that would be so bad. I think I'd use like a pen name, like. I just try to think of like the worst thing I could think of.
Mhm.
Like, man, that's pretty bad. But I'm trying to think in the first book, did I, or in the other side of the graveyard, did I write something? Or now I'll tell you the hardest part. Wasn't really something dark or scary. It was in the structure when you find out about his daughter. Like that was tough. And
Yeah.
my wife is like, because I'm like, man, I just wrote something like really sad. And she's like, well, why would you do that? And it's part of the character and it's part of real
Part of the
life.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it real. It makes the people real in the
Yeah.
stories. Now, do you have certain things that inspire you, like different authors or filmmakers that you follow?
Yeah, I do. Uh, Music sometimes is a motivator. Sight, I base most of my stories off of the southeastern states. So driving, if you ever go on a road trip, even an hour or two, and you're looking around at things, and you're seeing old churches and these old houses, trailers, and the water under a bridge, it really it conjures all these images up. That's
Hmm.
like, man, I could think. Actually, I just got a new idea because we went on a trip a couple of weeks ago and stayed in this cabin, and the place had like 16 windows around. Like it's surrounded by windows. We got there right before dark. Well, once it got dark, you realize you're illuminated inside to the fountain outside and the water and all that, but like there were no blinds or curtains on this place. And I'm like, what if,
Somebody's out there watching.
yeah, or somebody just ran up to the window and they're like up in the window. And I'm like, oh, I got a new story idea. Because it actually made me a little nervous. And I'm like, that's how you do it.
Yep. Just suddenly, boom, there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, is there a form of modern horror that you think is really underrated right now?
A form of modern. Um, like what's an example of like modern? Like what would you say?
Like, modern horror is like something that they don't use a whole lot, like in movies nowadays or books nowadays, or, that a more modern interpretation.
Uh, I don't know. I'm really like a classic person. A lot of Victorian stories, ghosts. I listen to some podcasts where they read like M.R. James and stuff, and I look at a lot of stuff from the '80s, and I have a lot of nostalgia for things from a young age. So that I think my mind tends to go there. But there's a couple of new like local authors that I read their books and really have enjoyed. Like Matt Weber, I'm on his second book, and John Ryland is a guy that I've met at a couple of events. I think I've read like three or four of his books now. So if as far as modern goes, some of these guys, I met a guy named Jack LaFountain. I read one of his Bigfoot books. That's a local Alabama guy. Like those are the kind of guys like I've been enjoying reading. But that
And that's
whole
what's cool about, especially the indie community, because you kind of meet each other, and then you get to interact with each other's content too.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
when it comes to stuff that they've created and worlds they've created, and that's partly why I created this podcast, because there's not a lot of places where if you're an indie author that you can actually talk about your stories and get feedback from real people and things about stuff like that. It's and I love reading the stories. I think it's great.
yeah. And thank you for having me
No
here and
problem.
for
Oh, Adam's here. Hey, Adam. Hey, y'all. But yeah, let me go back to my papers here, my mess. Um, with I personally think this is what makes something really scary is when it reflects the real world in some way. Um, is there something about the real world right now that would be really good in the fictional horror realm?
oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like there's a pretty good bit of that right now. And in a way, honestly, the structure is that shadowy, underground, behind the scenes.
Men in Black
Yeah,
showing up at
things
your
like
door.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely into things like that without saying too much, because then I'll get scared that that they're gonna come and get me if I run my mouth too much.
Yeah, you're gonna get
Uh,
some men in suits show up at your door and say,
yeah,
"Hey,
oh
you're
yeah. I don't want.
reading, you're writing some stuff. They seem a little bit too, real. You need to back it off a little bit."
Yeah, hey, you. How did you have this information? I just made it up. It
I
was
made it up. I swear.
I was just playing.
Well, when it comes to things in real life, what is more terrifying? Do you think monsters like cryptids or people?
Oh, people.
I agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree. People are like most of the time when there's something like a cryptid or like a monster, because growing up, you were in more of the southern Appalachians, but up here I'm in that little piece of West Virginia that has, the Appalachian Mountains still in it.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of folklore growing up in the Appalachians about things being in the woods. But most of the time it was a story about something that is in tune with nature and we aren't. Don't go out calling people's names, don't go places you don't
Mhm.
feel like you are welcome. Like a lot of that stuff, it's rooted in, real folklore. So the stories come from somewhere. So there are
Mhm.
things out there that we don't understand, but the people in this world are the most terrifying because who knows like what's going in somebody's brain. And like
Right.
because they say what you walk by a killer every, you meet a serial killer like twice in your lifetime or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It is something like that. Yeah.
So that's crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, you do that and never know it.
Never know what's in
But
somebody else's mind.
you don't know if they looked at you and was like, maybe.
Well, and I also thought it'd be fun to do some rapid fire questions. So these are questions kind of you don't think too hard, you just answer, okay?
Okay.
So, what's your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh crap.
Adam said they'll show up
Oh,
and
so
erase your memory.
yeah.
And
So
the
let's say Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet. That's a good one. Let me go back to my questions here. What's your favorite Stephen King book? Because he's like the biggest horror author.
Salem's Lot.
Good one. Haunted house or abandoned asylum?
Haunted House.
Okay. Vampires, zombies, werewolves, or cryptids?
I've switched so many times in my life. I was a big vampire guy, a big werewolf guy. I guess most of my logos have werewolves. So I'll go with werewolves right now.
Werewolves. Okay. Most cursed thing you've ever searched while researching a book?
The most cursed thing
Mm-hmm.
while researching a book.
What's something you come across that seems cursed?
Um, my birthday.
Why your birthday?
Well, my birthday as long as I go to work. If I stay home, it's fine.
You get hurt
Eh,
at work on your birthday?
No, just bad things happen. So like I took off and I was telling everybody, I'm like, I'm doing this for your own good. Because and I came back and everybody's like, we had this really nice Friday, and I'm like, you're welcome,
It's because I wasn't here.
because
Trust me.
I stayed locked up at home.
Hey, right there's a story. You can write a whole story about somebody that has the bad luck on their birthday and the horrific day that he has trying to save somebody or something. That would be funny.
Yeah, it
That would
would
be a
be.
fun story. All right, and let me. I lost my place. Go figure, right? ADHD. Where are we? Where are we going? We don't know. We're just here. Um, now no, no, no. I'm on up. There we go. If you had to survive one of your own stories, which one would you choose?
Maybe Night Nuisance, the one with the raccoon.
The one with the raccoon.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's just one raccoon.
It's not like
And
a whole bunch of raccoons. It's just one terror raccoon.
it's just one raccoon, and if the old drunk wouldn't have pissed him off, I think he would have been fine. So
That's the start of a lot of Southern tales right there. It's like if that drunk would have just left him be, things would have just been all right. But they didn't. They had to poke the bear. Okay, so which would you absolutely never survive if you had to go into that world?
like one of my books or any.
Mm-hmm.
I would not survive. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Man, I should have had a book here for reference.
You know, I throw these curveball questions.
Yeah, because I think I could survive around MOO, the structure, as long as you don't go being too nosy. Mhm.
So probably one of your
Yeah,
short stories.
it would be a short story, and I'm just drawing a blank on what all happened. What all I have uh, that has a lot of danger. Um, uh, Probably the one. Can't remember what I named it, but it's the one where the dead guys come out of the ocean
Ooh,
and
that
the other side
sounds.
of the graveyard.
Ooh, yeah. I haven't read those short stories, but yeah, that would get me.
Yeah, yeah, they just show up and just like swarm the place. I'd probably get killed.
Yeah, I think I've always said like if there was ever like a real zombie apocalypse that happened, I'd probably be dinner within the first month because I'm not a runner. Like I'm just not. I'm not built for it. I would try to make a stand the best I could, but I'd probably be overrun. That's why I always said like zombies scare me because of that. Um, now I got this idea because you were doing these really cool videos with the Moo mask. If you had a tagline for the movie Moo for its poster, what would you pick?
Probably beware the herd, because
Yeah,
that's what I write inside the books.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, most definitely. I like that. Now, do you have any future projects that you want to talk about?
Well, that's the crazy thing is ever since I've written Moo, I've started two different books. Actually, I had a book started before Moo and broke off of it to write Moo, and then when I tried to go back to it, I had kind of lost the feel for it. And then I started another one and got to a point where I knew ultimately where I wanted to go, but I got kind of hung up not wanting to be. I didn't want to keep dragging things out too long and wanted to kind of get to the point. So I lost steam with that. And right as of like last weekend, I went back and started writing short stories again. Is I've got a ton of ideas and they're eating me up more than the other stuff. So it's gonna
So,
bother me if I
so
don't
most
write it.
likely it's going to be another short story anthology. You would say.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I try to be careful because I feel like I'm every single podcast I've gone on where somebody asks me what the next project is, and I'm like, it's an anthology of gothic stories, and then I write Moo, and it's like, man, this guy is very dishonest.
No. You're just creative, and that happens
Yeah,
sometimes
it
when you're
just
creative.
it just changes. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna do one thing and I do another. So that's a difficult question sometimes.
Are there any genres outside horror you'd love to explore in writing?
Oh yeah, yeah, fantasy, sword and sorcery, wizards, and yeah.
D&D esque,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
big epic tales of
Yeah, yeah. I've
heroism.
yeah, I've considered a short story version of that because that genre has been beat down so much that it's hard to be fresh. So I wouldn't want to write like 1,000-page book about this adventure, even though I've had notes in my head for 20 years on one. But I, like break it down a little bit in these small little different characters, different quests. That way it's kind of fresh, like Conan stories or The Witcher or something like that.
That would be cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Maybe I'll eventually switch up. My brother writes that kind of stuff, but
Oh, that's
he
awesome.
he's so deep in his own like notes and lore right now that it's taking him a while because he's doing it
Right.
very methodically and
Yeah, that's the one thing about fantasy, like epic fantasy. It takes a lot of world building and character
oh
structure and
yeah.
development. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it,
and his
it's a
his
hard
book's
genre.
good. I've read he sent me like which I think he's added some to it now, but up to the point where he was at, I'm like, man, look, dude, this is good. You've got to finish this. 'Cause
Hmm.
he's a better writer than me.
I
His
wouldn't say that.
oh yeah, his book is gonna be good if when he finishes.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, you need to do it so you can come hang out with me too when I go to stuff.
On these trips, these author excursions.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, is there a dream adaptation or collaboration you'd love to see happen someday?
I don't think about it like that. People have kind of said like, because I did make that cheesy Steve's Ridge Bigfoot movie with my phone and some people that helped me, and they're like, why don't you make a movie? And I'm like, I can't pull that. I can't put a bullet through a wall, like that would be fun, but I can't make that one.
Oh, maybe you just need to hook up with the right people that can help you like figure that out, how to strategically do it.
I've kind of got to the point where I don't, I don't think I want to do it. If somebody else wants to do one with a story, that's fine. But I don't think I want to do another one. At least not now. I was going to do a documentary, and I did catch some EVPs and stuff. That's pretty cool. But I just, I don't know something about it. I was like, I need to leave this alone. I'm not going to do this right now.
Well, you'll know, like in your heart, when it's time to do like a different project or go in a different direction. I do believe that. Now, what kind of legacy do you hope your stories will leave behind?
That's for my kids. I really wanted them to see. That's probably why I started finishing projects because they're a little older now and they can see things. And I just do it for them to show like you can keep pushing things. Like if you really want to do something, and there's ways out there to make it happen. So like I play music, so I have some videos of that. Now I have books and stuff. So like if something one day when I'm gone, they'll be like, hey, like remember like Dad did all this stuff. And sometimes like they will go watch reels and stuff I've made.
That's
I can't
cool.
stand to see them though. I'm like, I don't want to do
That's my thing. Like that's partly why I like to do live because then once I do it, it's done.
that.
Like
Yeah,
I don't have to revisit it. Where like the editorials that I do, I have to sit there and edit my own face and everything. I'm like, oh, why? Why am I made this way?
yeah, yeah. I get that. I don't even go back when I was in the little waiting before the show. I had Moo with me, and I was like, let me just, how did I write? Let me, and I started reading. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this.
Yeah, because it's like, and it's also like if it's yours, you see the mistakes
Oh yeah,
where
it's
other
gonna.
people won't. Like you'll be like, "Oh man, why did I word it that way? That's silly."
Uh
Like,
huh.
why did I? Yeah. Oh, I missed that apostrophe. Like, oh my god.
Or it just sounds to me, it sounds really dumb, and how I wrote it, and it'll discourage me. So it's done. Don't look at it.
Yeah, it's it's done. Like
Yeah,
it's published. Moving on. Yeah. Now, what advice would you give an aspiring horror writer?
my advice is simple, really. I mean, if you enjoy it, if you have the passion for it, you want to put in the work for it, do it. Sit down, you learn. Every project you do, everything that comes out, you actually learn along the way. And yeah, you could polish up, you'll edit and do a first book, and you're probably going to get better the next time, or you're going to see things that you want to do different. But I would just say go for it.
Just
Just
do it.
don't. Yeah, there's a lot of people who talk about it like, I've always wanted to write a book, or one day I want to write a book, but I'm not sure how to do it, or I'm not sure that I'm good enough. It's like, just do it, and
Yeah.
you're probably
I
going to be
because I'm
really happy.
trying to write a novel myself, and I've kind of had this mindset of like, just do it. And your first one's going to be, not. I don't want to say crap because it's not going to be
No,
crap,
no,
but
no.
you know what I mean. Your first one is that's the only way to learn is by doing it. And
Mm-mm.
luckily, I've been blessed with a great guy that is very analytical, so he's really good at editing for me.
Oh, that's good.
So, and he's very good on like the grammar rules and that kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
I don't do tenses very well. So, if the book turns out good, it's him.
Well, no, I mean, but yeah, it's a work. You
Hmm.
came up with it. It's your story.
Well, yeah,
And I make
it's
that
a
joke a
team.
lot because people say, "Well, your last name's Grammer. You must be good at
Good
grammar." I'm like,
grammar,
I'm like, yeah, but it's misspelled, so we're not too good at it.
most definitely. That's hilarious. Now, what do you hope readers feel after finishing one of your books?
Like I'd answered this question in a written format, and I don't want to be cheesy to kind of repeat that, but it is true. So, like, if you finish one of my books first, like, I'm really thankful for that. Like, somebody you took time and you didn't did not finish, put it down. You like finished it, so that's cool. And I mean, I'd like to scare people a little bit with some stuff, but I'd really like for somebody to say, I really like that story. I like that book. That was a nice spooky story, horror story.
Right, right.
And the one I couldn't remember a minute ago is called The Trawler, where the dead guys come up.
Yeah, when the dead guys come up. Yeah, that's the idea. The imagery takes me back to episode of Tales from the Crypt when the guy
Hmm.
comes out of the ocean, like because he gets buried and he gets drowned, and then he
Yeah,
walks out of the ocean with all the seaweed and he's dead. I
yeah,
can't
yeah. It's
remember what
kind
episode, but that's kind
was
of what
did
I'm picturing. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, Creep Show did that too. I think with
Oh yeah, maybe that's
that
what I'm thinking about
that
is Creep
couple,
Show.
that husband buried the couple in the sand,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
came
maybe it
back.
was Creep Show, but
But
that's
Tales from the Crypt is back on. 'Cause I actually watched the episode earlier today.
did it new episodes.
They're not new. They're just re-releasing the old ones.
Oh, right, right. Okay. Yeah, because I think my roommate was watching that the other day because I'm like, oh, I remember the Keeper. And
Now that's another influence because he used to scare me so bad that I
right?
wouldn't even look at the TV when I heard him. Like when I heard that music and seen it going through the house and he's gonna
I
pop
wouldn't
up, I
really
would
get
just yeah, I would just hide from him. But I'd hear his voice and be like, "No, go away, stop." But he's actually funny, But
right. As an adult, you're like, yeah, he's pretty funny. Like, I like that. And I think they said that his eyes are recycled from a different movie, but I can't remember what movie it was. So that's why his eyes are kind of familiar.
oh, okay.
I can't remember what his eyes were. It's like part of a puppet of another puppet or something like that, if I remember right. But okay, so final question: what message would you leave for all the creepy little weirdos watching tonight?
Leave a message. Well, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. And
Most
Uh,
definitely. Thanks for
yeah,
hanging out.
yeah. Thanks for being here and giving us the time of day. I hope you find something good to watch or read this weekend. That's spooky.
Well,
And
I do know some things that you could read. You know,
yeah, if
you
you,
can get them in digital. You don't have to have like the physical copies.
yeah, that'd be nice.
And there you have it, guys. My fellow creepy little weirdos. Another journey into the strange, the unsettling, and the absolutely terrifying. A massive thank you again to tonight's guest, Dustin, for joining us and giving us a glimpse into the twisted worlds behind the structure in Moo. After tonight, I don't think any of us will ever look at cows the same way again. Just as an introduction, eventually want to get a stamp for all the books that have been donated to the library. And they will be going on the library shelf. And thank you for your donation to the library. I wanted to introduce the next author, if you don't mind. You might recognize him. His name is Ernie Atwell, and this is his paranormal journey. It's called Paranormal My Chosen Journey by Ernie Atwell. So that's the next read if you want to get that so we can read it together. We'll start that next Friday. And if you enjoyed tonight's descent into darkness, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this episode with your horror lovers in your life. And share the links to Dustin's wonderful books. It truly helps the channel grow and keeps these haunted conversations alive. And don't forget to leave a comment below. What scares you more? What's hiding in the woods? Or what's waiting inside the structure? You can find Dustin's work and upcoming projects and socials in the description below. So make sure you go show him some love and support an incredible indie author. If you're not ready to sleep just yet, check out one of these haunted histories on my channel and another terrifying interview right there on the channel. And as always, thank you again for watching. Good night and sweet dreams. Bye bye, guys. Love you.